Hi there folks, Matt Hayson, and joining me today is Veronica Morgan from Good Deeds Buyers Agents, and we thought it would be timely to just discuss the whole buyer agent movement and what we've seen over the recent times, certainly maybe a byproduct of a heated market.
The reality is that it's very easy to become a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
In fact, it's easier than it is to become a selling agent.
From our perspective, what we've seen and heard is a lot of people that either didn't make it in the sales side of the industry, have thought, oh, well, look, I'll just go and work. It seems like it's an easier process to go and work on the buyer's side. I mean, what are some questions that you would like to qualify a buyer? If you're thinking of using a buyer's agent and you're sitting in the lounge room with somebody and you're interviewing 2 or 3, which is the process we normally go through when we're listing a house for sale, you know, what are the questions you'd ask?
Look, that in itself is a really good question.
Yeah.
I actually have 2 questionnaires, and I'll give you the links for it so you can attach to the end of this.
Yeah.
Because the first question is questions to ask the prospective buyer's agent. And yes, how do you get some benchmarking in place? How do you measure the success or otherwise of a buyer's agent or someone you're going to trust to help you make, you know, multi-million-dollar decisions? And secondly, I absolutely wholeheartedly encourage anybody considering using a buyer's agent to reference check the buyer's agent. Call their clients.
Yeah.
And it's a bit tricky because, of course, if you ask somebody, oh, look, give me some names of some past clients, well, you're likely to get all the favourable ones, the favourite ones. No, give me a list of everything that you've bought in the last 6 months, and then pick out some and just go, I want to call that person, that person, that person. See how willing they are, first of all, to give you those details, and obviously they need to check with their client. I've got a questionnaire to ask that particular client, those clients as well. It's absolutely critical that you do your homework. Yeah. Because otherwise you could have somebody who actually owns less property than you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
recommending what you should buy.
We hear, you know, what buyers are using buyers agents is there's a view that you have an inside line to real estate agents, and you know you get the special offerings and the special listings. Is that true?
Well, you tell me.
Look, I can tell you what we see. Look, what I see is there's people in our area. This is me speaking from a personal experience, and specifically in my area here. There are some people like yourself that I know that have been in the area a long time. They've got the track record. There's a higher level of respect because we know of your experience and we know how you operate, and that the clients that you have are typically well nurtured and they understand the process. So for somebody like yourself, I would say, absolutely, you know, we would deal with you at a different level, but if I had to look at a broader sense of how we're being communicated with now as from an industry point of view, then no, there is no inside word or no special assistance that we provide a buyer's agent. You know, typically what we're seeing at the moment is we're getting about 10 emails a day from buyer's agents from here to wherever they're positioned, just with a blanket email saying we've got clients wanting to spend X, Y, Z, and it's not even relevant for us. When we look into them, there's people looking in Camperdown and Manly, and we're like, well, why are we getting this? So you just glaze over it as an agent, so this isn't even relevant for my area. Yep. So you know, I guess it's horses for courses, but this comes back to, for me, would have been, and if I was looking to appoint a buyer's agent, is actually having the right person on my side is so critical. Like, I would be definitely looking for somebody that's got longevity and a track record in you know, because then that way I'd feel comfortable that you do know many agents across many areas, and you do have a high level of respect and connection with the agent.
It's interesting. I mean, and one thing that you may not know, in our office we've developed a way of categorising agents. So we're 8 different styles of agents.
Only 8.
Only 8. And there's ways that you need to negotiate with different types of agents. And so obviously, you know, we can work out pretty quickly the type of agent that we're dealing with, even if we've never met them before. Now, obviously, that's something that might need to come around to you dealing with buyer's agents to try to categorise buyer's agents and work out how to deal with different ones. What do you see inexperienced buyer's agents doing that just makes you scratch your head?
Well, inexperienced buyer's agents, for us, they make a lot of errors and things like that. They don't listen. So as an agency, we try to be transparent and upfront and give guidance as best we can. So whether or not it's yourself as a buyer's agent or a typical buyer, but quite often we see an inexperienced buyer's agent, they haven't prepared their client correctly. They may be, they've given them pretty poor advice around pricing and instructions around how to operate with a sale guide or leading up to an auction. So we see, you know, offers come through that really don't put their client in favour with the seller. They don't listen to the advice that we're providing them. They try to kind of go, really run the show their way, which in a heated market it's pretty difficult to do. So at times we've said to the buyer's agents, look, you're not doing your client any favours. You're actually not listening to the instructions that we're providing you, and you're actually doing your client a disservice by kind of going down this own path, which is, I'm a bull at a gate, I'll get this property for you, we'll run it our way, and we'll be heavy hitting and hard. And quite frankly, a lot of sellers kind of turn off and shy away from that.
Yeah.
So that's what we, from the experience side of things, that's what I typically see.
So other than, surely you must have buyer's agents come to you that you've never dealt with before but are experienced.
Yes.
How do you recognise a good one from a bad one?
Just everything from tone of voice, just a lot of people, again, I've been around a little while, so I guess some people do kind of know who we are and things like that as an agent, but it's more of a matter of fact conversation. They're like, okay, where's your client at? Where's the buyer interest at? What have we got to do to buy it? We don't want to muck around. If it's in a window that we're prepared to negotiate at or where we see value, then we're prepared to talk at that level. If we're not, so be it, no hard feelings, we'll just move on. And it's that kind of level of, and it's just easier, it's transparent, we know where everybody stands, and that's how I typically pick up on it. It's like, yeah, well, that was a good person to deal with. The phone call was positive, it was easy, it wasn't like, they were open with us, it felt like I could be open with them, and it was just easy.
How do you think a buyer has an advantage if they have a buyer's agent, a good buyer's agent?
A good buyer's agent? Look, I would see the advantages in, look, there's a high degree of emotion, I guess, in buying a home. This is an answer and a question at the same time. Is in your research, I guess there's people that also they don't mind paying a bit extra because it suits them. There's that always that emotional. There's attachment. Oh, look, like we love this house. There's a value attached to that, which is outside of any analysis that you can tend to do. So from what I've seen from an industry, from a sales side of things, is the buyer's agent market has gone a bit wild, and I see that it's gone with certain companies, it's more of a bums on seat mentality rather than real value add. And are you really diligently doing the best thing for a client? And that's the thing that I'm worried now that I'm seeing buyers that are entrusting these people where I just don't feel that they've got the experience, the knowledge, or really, from a sales point of view, I see them just like it's become more around doing deals rather than doing best service. Well, I think we've probably covered a fair bit there that hopefully it's of use, because it's the buyer's agency side of things is really a burgeoning type of business in the real estate space. You can see why it's come about. It's been a tight market, it's been hard for people to buy properties. There's definitely a place, but from my viewpoint, like if you're selecting a person to sell your home, you've just got to pick that right person. And I would say it's an 80-20 rule in your industry. I'd say 20% are very good, and 80% from what I'm seeing are probably pretty inexperienced.
Oh, that's pretty hard actually, because I was hoping it was a bit better than that.
Well, I'm almost saying it's probably 80-20 from the sales side as well, to be honest.
Probably. I think it's slightly better, and it's maybe 70-30.
Maybe 70-30, you might be right. Anyway, so look, thanks very much for joining. It's Matt and Veronica Morgan from Good Deeds. Hopefully this has been some transparent, useful information. If you are out there looking to use a buyer's agency service, I can certainly recommend Veronica. She's done some great deals with us, and we've always felt that the process has been fair, respectful, and her clients have certainly been happy. So thanks very much for watching.